Hello, friends.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Relatable Adjacent. Um, we wanted to do a bit of a 30,000 foot overview of Generation X as we see it. So, for those of you that aren't Gen X, give you a little background as to who we are as a generation. Those of you that are part of Gen X, a lot of this will resonate with you on some level, I'm sure. So, with that, we'll just get right into it. So Generation X, fundamentally born between 1964, 65, depending on who you read, and ending in 1980. Generation X has been referred to as the last feral generation, latchkey kids, the MTV generation. All these are, you know, kind of staples of what we're known as. Um, but for those of us living it, we're we actually do live up to some of those things, and we live up to all those FAFO kind of memes you see flying around. We lived in a world without social media. We lived in a world without surveillance in any meaningful way. We lived in a world that was far more dangerous if you look at the statistics of violent crime and murder rates than you see today,
And nuclear warfare hanging over
and
our
of
heads
nuclear
every day.
warfare hanging over our heads. I still remember being a kid in elementary school and junior high school doing a combination of an earthquake drill and a nuclear fallout drill,
Yeah. Yep.
where we get under the desks. It's like,
Yep.
well, the desk isn't going to save you from a bomb blast, but sure, maybe falling debris. But if you're incinerated instantly, then that's not going to help you much. But
Do you remember Genesis, Land of Confusion?
oh, what a great
Doesn't
song.
the bomb go off at the end of that music
Yes.
video?
Yes, that
Yeah.
was a great song.
Yeah. Perfect
Was
example of Gen X right there.
Yeah, absolutely. It was the generation that was scared to death of AIDS.
Yeah,
Was the
yeah.
generation of DARE, drug abuse, resistance, education.
Hmm.
Um, as my partner Kelly would say, Generation X was the generation that got to have no fun because before us, everyone was doing drugs and having sex and having a good old time. And then when we were finally coming of that age, it was like, no, sex will kill you, drugs will kill you. Oh, and the bomb might fall at any moment. And yeah,
I mean, I remember going and discussing one of their songs in English class because it was poetry. I mean, it was,
absolutely.
so yeah, I mean, and we grew up with the classic books. We did grow up with that toughness right there too. We grew up with Catcher in the Rye and
Yeah, of mice and men, and
1984.
yeah, all that.
Yeah, I mean, all of Steinbeck is like, ooh, that's harsh. And they
Yeah,
don't read those now. We were this weird generation, definitely. I remember as a girl, you had all these witchcraft movies.
yep,
You had The Craft, and then all of a sudden you had like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and all those as you got a little older. But there was still all these like, witch things, and everybody had their tarot cards, and everybody was like, and that
yep.
was you played these games of levitating a person. I don't remember what all of them were, but and it was like, but it was common. Like girls, everybody did it. It was so the
Yeah.
Ouija board was a huge thing. It was like who was buying the Ouija board? Dumb girls. That's who, that's who was buying the Ouija
Yeah,
board.
never really
You
played with
know.
the Ouija board, but we did do the whole the Bloody Mary and the mirror in the dark in the
Oh yeah.
bathroom, and
Yep.
yeah, stay up all
All
night
the
playing early generation video games, and
yeah, yeah. I mean, but we played actual games. I mean, maybe they were on asphalt,
yeah,
you know, but we did actually know how to play. And I will say working with kids and tutoring them, I have a hard time tapping into that. Like it's so far gone because I don't feel like play is a thing anymore. And it's
yeah,
like Gen X, it's like while we stay young, there's still an element that has sort of gone away that I think we try to get back. I think the perfect example are all those TikTok videos of the dance challenges. A
yeah.
lot of those are Gen X that are out there doing that.
Interesting.
And I think it's right. I think it's kind of like, I don't know, leftover whatever from high school. I don't know, but we were
Yeah.
definitely, you know, we're definitely that. So I don't know. Gen X, I like being it. I'm good with it.
No, I do too. I do too.
And I'm glad we're doing this. I feel like we need to dispel some of those things that are
Yeah, I
trying
mean,
to
and
pigeonhole us because Gen X doesn't like to be pigeonholed. Not
no, definitely
really.
not. No, all a bunch of rebels. At least I can speak
Mhm.
for myself and you. I can't speak for
Mhm.
all of Gen X, and certainly, with Generation X, I think there's just, there is a lot of misconceptions about it, and because most Gen X people I know aren't really forthcoming with who they are and what their beliefs are. Because it just
I
there
think
it's a,
that's true for
we're
Gen X
very
too.
live and let live.
Yep.
So, when one of the other misconceptions, or not misconceptions necessarily, but people don't understand, I think, about Gen X is the work ethic.
Oh yeah.
Um, you
Yeah.
know, at least for me, I watched both my parents work full time. They were both workaholics, so those are my role models. So you have that hard work ethic.
I've worked my entire life and I can't imagine my life without working.
Yeah, no, it's certainly part of who Gen X is. I mean, I strongly identify as part of who I am with what I do for work and my work for
Mhm.
sure. Yeah,
If, I decided to go to Fiji and live on a beach, I'd probably open a bar. Like I
yes,
would still be doing something. I can't imagine sitting on that beach drinking for the rest of my life. I
no,
would be bored out of my mind. So I would open up some kind. Now, a bar would be fun just because it'd be fun to talk, meet everybody, and what the hell, make people happy. But I couldn't do it for very long. I think I'd get really bored.
yeah,
Um, I think for Gen X, it's like, and we can. I mean, we can go out in the world and do these things, and we do. I think a lot of people do, but vacations are nice, and maybe yes, you work because you have to. But if you won the lottery, you'd probably still work, and I think that's most people I know.
yeah.
They'd have their
Well,
house and everything, but they'd still work, do something.
yeah, I had one of my interns a long time ago told me that I was an active relaxer. And I'm like, what does that mean? It's like you've always got to be doing something. It's like, if you're not
Yeah.
doing a 48-hour film festival with us interns to help build a team and teach skills, it's like, you're tearing apart your backyard, or it's like, do you take a break? It's like, I'll take a break when I'm dead. It's like, but that's
Yeah.
a really Gen X thing to say.
You know what? That's true. That goes along the line. If you want something to cry about, I'll give, I mean,
Yeah,
it's, it kind of goes hand in hand if you think about
it
it.
does. It
I
really
mean, we
does.
definitely, yeah, I think we're fascinating in terms of an age group. Like you said, every age group has their thing. Every age group is fascinating. But because we're the age group that grew up between these kind of caveman and Jetsons thing,
Yeah.
we grew up.
Yeah, I mean, and that's part of it, I think, is Gen X is that bridge generation between the old era and the old guard and the new. So we can speak to a rotary phone, we can speak to or can drive a manual transmission car, uh,
Mhm.
those sorts of things, but we also can, fix your kid's laptop because they accidentally opened the wrong link and you have to like wipe it and start.
Yeah, well, then there's that. But I always think of like, especially everything that the way it is, I'm like, okay, if for some reason everything got knocked out, every electrical, computer system, internet, whatever, all of it went down. It wouldn't be, we could easily go back and because we know it and we know it
Yeah,
wasn't horrible. It's
yeah.
it's like there was also kind of something nice in a way of it. So it's kind of like, but I think the younger generation, because they never experienced what it was like, they would be lost. I
Yeah,
mean, they
I
would
well
be,
potentially. It's one of
yeah.
those things, and I don't necessarily teach it in schools. And if you didn't come up in Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, whatever, or have a outdoorsy parent or military parent,
Mhm.
there's a lot of life skills that I think have just kind of fallen by the wayside. Like the basics, like, building shelter, starting a fire. foraging for food,
Mhm.
some very basic stuff that, I mean, a lot of Gen X friends of mine weren't taught these skills either, truthfully. I had the benefit of some of that, which I'm really appreciative of. And I know if all the power were knocked out tomorrow, you know,
You'd be fine.
if the world goes sideways, you can't expect the government to look after you because there's too many people. You can't go like,
Right.
hey, come save me. It's like, well, there's thousands of other people that need saving just as much as you. So you have to
Yeah.
take care of yourself a little bit. And that's something that's very much, I think, in a lot of Gen X that isn't in any other generation that I've seen.
I was told that. I mean, I remember growing up being told no one's going to take care of you but you.
Yeah.
And from the day you're born to the end of your life, it's all on you. And don't expect anyone to come in and save you. And I
Yeah.
mean, I was literally told that from the get-go. And to this day, there's, it's like better alone than in bad company.
Yeah.
And so, it's that we're very self-sufficient and
Yeah.
and continually learning and continually adding to society, right? I think
Yeah.
I mean, it was always being a productive member of society was always like the mantra.
Drilled into your head. Yeah.
But I think we're the fixers, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
know
I've always seen
I'm a
myself as that.
fixer. I think you are. I think a lot of my Gen X friends are fixers. I think that comes with survival, right? Because we had to learn to survive. And in order to survive, you have to fix things. And I think
Yeah.
and I'm never afraid to, and I know you're the same way. Like, I don't have a problem being the heavy. I don't have
Yeah.
a problem being a bill collector. I don't have a problem telling someone there's something wrong. I don't have a problem doing any of that. And not taking it personally, right? And it's
Yeah.
just kind of like, no, you just fix the problem and moving right along. Um,
Yeah. No, that's a really good way to put it. I never actually kind of put it in that context. But yeah, Generation X is the fixer generation, I would say for sure. Not
mhm.
afraid to have any of those conversations where the younger generations, the idea of getting on the phone and calling someone is like terrifying. It's like, no, just call them. They're not going to bite your head off. What can they do? They can't do anything. Um, they can, I
It's the
mean,
day of
it's handy.
texting.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't know the art of conversation, I think is a Gen X thing. And I think we're the last generation to really understand what that means. I mean, like sit down and talk and turn your phones off, talk.
Yeah.
Um and I don't see many people wanting to turn their phones off. I think our
No.
generation is more likely to leave our phones, if I'm talking to you or something, my phone is down. I don't and if it's not, it's because I'll tell you, okay, I'm on call or something. But
Yeah.
other than that, I really
Otherwise,
don't
the
like.
screen is face down. Yeah. No, my
Yeah, it becomes rude. You show me lack of respect, you're gonna get lack of respect back.
yeah, yeah.
And
No, and respect is really big for Gen X, and certainly
yeah,
myself. I mean, it's one of my kind of core tenets.
and I think all those memes that we see are actually about respect. The reason why people get so pissed off, or Gen X gets so pissed off, is when someone doesn't show us respect. We're feral, but we expect respect. And if you don't give it to us, then we're not going to be pleasant people. You give it to us, we will return it back to you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So,
No, no, I'm with you on
yeah,
that.
right.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's a respect thing.
No, respect is definitely a big part of it for sure. What do people want to know about Gen X?
Yeah,
Obviously,
leave it in the comments. I mean,
yeah.
we're curious. I mean,
Anyone who's actually watching this, regardless of your generation, if you want to pop in
mhm.
a question, let's see if we can help be that bridge for you, help you understand a different generation or better understand Gen X. Obviously, Roxy and I have our own perspectives, both raised in Los Angeles, similar era. We're both Gen X. I'm a little bit of a younger Gen X, but
And I'm the one that also grew up between cultures. So
yes,
I come from the immigrant family. So
yeah,
I have a whole different take on Gen X when it comes to that too. So, I mean, I think this is also for a lot of kids that maybe you don't understand your Gen X parents.
yeah,
And this could be good for you to explain where we actually come from and why we are I think we've answered a lot of the whys tonight as to why we are the way we are.
yeah,
But I think as we talk to more people, you're going to see more of the Gen X overall attitude come out. Um, I think we're very
Absolutely.
reasonable, but I think we're very analytical.
Yeah, no, I think so. I mean, who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe someone will shred us.
Here's the thing with Gen X. We know haters are going to hate. We're just going to block you. Like we don't care. We're not going to argue with you. We really don't care about you. When
Yeah.
it comes to that, bye. But for those of you that actually have sincere questions, this is a place to ask them. And what we don't know, we'll try to get you those answers.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. We know a lot of Gen X folks, kids and coming from broken homes and immigration. I've got at least a bit of a sense of Gen X from an Australian and New Zealand perspective.
mhm,
Roxy and I are fairly well traveled and we know people all over the planet. Uh,
mhm,
Gen X means different things to different countries.
mhm.
But the through line for Gen X is that we were in this very unique time and space where we did come up in a world before computers, before cell phones, but we're thrust into those worlds in our formative years. So we know the world before the technology, we know the world after the technology, and we live in the world with the technology day in, day out.
And if you take it away from us now, we don't care. We're survivors, and honestly, it wasn't so bad before it existed. In
It was
fact, I think
better
it
in
was
some cases, I
nice.
think.
I was gonna say, I think it was quite nice. I mean, we used to get bullied, but our bullying didn't stay with us, right? I mean, there was no internet out there to keep it forever.
No,
So,
black
I
eyes
mean,
only last 2 weeks.
right. So, I mean, we know what that's like. And I definitely think there's a fondness to that. I
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. I love the fact that I can talk to you. You're on the other side of the world and we can have these conversations because when we were growing up, this didn't exist. And it was a long distance call that would have run us about $1,000 by the time we are done with this call
Easily $1,000.
easily, and it was a very big deal, by the way, to get a long distance call. Like that was like, who's calling you? I mean, it was like who's actually willing to spend the money on you from the other side of the world? It must
World,
be someone important, right?
right?
I mean, so this is the technology that I love. I mean, now if everything went to hell in a handbasket, I'd be like, okay, I'm on a plane.
Yep. Yeah,
That
exactly.
that would
And
be
you'd have to
that.
send it in the mail, assuming the mail would make it.
Right. Right. Let me send you the pictures in the mail, with a letter. You'll
After I
you'll
get
love
them developed at the photo mat.
right. Exactly. We'll just get them developed. But and you had to, oh, it killed me because remember you had to wait like 4 days before you got your
Yep.
pictures back. It wasn't like instant. You had to wait and hopefully they turned out. And because it cost money, no one was taking food pictures. That was not happening because you were not
No.
going to spend your money developing food pictures. Well, this was fun.
Yeah. Well, hey, for all you out there, like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.
Yes.